Hello and welcome back to the Minetrek.net game server. This is the project I'm currently working on. It's a Constitution style refit. It's not the Enterprise. It is not the Enterprise. Let me stress that very clearly there. It is the Exodus. And I'm not sure what the actual number is for the Exodus, but I went with 1138 because why not? Anyways, big thanks to D-Bomb and Mad Squirrel and iPanic and other folks who have helped out with the initial design of this ship. It was started in June of last year when MHeller imported a new modified hull and a more disco style version of the Enterprise A, and I went through and I tweaked it to make it look more like the motion picture era Enterprise, and that was a mistake, but M let me keep the hull for my own personal use, and this is the girl in herself, all decked out, sorta. My first experience with laying in Aztecing and stuff like that. I don't remember who mocked up the nacelle here, but they did a really nice job with putting in the main details of the nacelle. And then I came through the last couple of weeks, and I've been doing a lot of the Aztecing stuff based off of images and whatnot that I have seen. I think I did it okay. I mean, it's a lot of work. Don't get me wrong. I really like how it came out, but it looks really, really good. Um, yeah, it's just my style, my take on this version of this ship. It is a lot larger than the Constitution I built 9 years ago. If you remember, I built 7 or 8 Constitution class ships over the course of 9 years. My first ships, of course, ended up on Planet Minecraft, and of course, nefarious douchebag pieces of crap stole them and profited off of them, and that really shut me down for wanting to put any more builds on Planet Minecraft. But yeah, it is what it is. I mean, sure, they get 10,000 downloads on a paid download site for my builds, and or they go to PC Gamer magazine and get interviewed and say, "Oh yeah, I built this," when in fact all they did was steal it from me off of Planet Minecraft. But yeah, so I tell you what, I enjoy building this ship. It is a lot larger than, I mean, significantly larger. If you were to look at the Dynamap, you would see these pictures, and let's just say that this right actually. Eh, let's just say that you could take the entire saucer of the other Enterprise and fit it within the very limited section of right here, from the magenta line right here to the magenta line right there. So you can see that I have a lot more space to use. And this is deck 7, and you can see it has a lot of escape pods and everything else. It has the little crew area right there, and of course the little area right there, complete with a pool and a gymnasium. I might redesign this area. I might actually make this gymnasium a little bit bigger. Then, of course, fuel pods for the RCS thrusters and things like that. But yeah, let's take a look at it real quick here. Let's look at the bridge. Now, initially, I panicked and Matt Squirrel mocked up the bridge and they used modded blocks, and this was made by somebody and they used modded blocks. I haven't replaced this yet, but I will be replacing this with standard blocks, vanilla blocks, because I want a vanilla build initially. From that point forward, it can be modified with modified blocks or modded blocks, but initially it should all be vanilla. That way there, if somebody comes along and is like, yeah, I like this hull here, I want to do some work with it, they'll have a bare hull to work from. Theory. Mainly for myself, because I want to design something in vanilla, and then if I like it, I'll go back through and work on it in modded. But once it's modded, it's unique to this version of the Star Trek mod, and you can never take it to another server unless that server runs the 112.2 Minecraft mod. So keep that in mind. But all these squares on the upper here, these are all umbilicals, including these large ones, which were atypically marked off as access hatchways. I moved the access hatchways because this is actually right over a corridor. So I just moved it to there. That's just my take on it. Don't be hating. You can go build your own spaceship if you don't like what I'm doing. Just saying. But same thing here. And come over here, we will see that we have the airlock, and it is a piston airlock, so it does work like so, and it works really well. I like it. But let's go ahead and go up here and check out the bridge real quick. I'll just show you some of the key areas that I've been working on. You can come onto the server and check out any of the interior stuff. And there's another project ongoing by Droid, and I think somebody's actually working on a TOS too. So yeah, keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. A lot of projects going. Of course, this is one of the larger Constitution styles. I think Droids is the same size. Also behind it we have the Calvin Mitchell Enterprise C work and the HD Liggett. I, I am really sorry, guys, if I'm messing up those names. Probert Enterprise C builds directly behind me, and those are amazing. Go check them out. All three of those builds, go check them out because Droids builds are over there, and he's doing his own version of the Constitution. All three of those builds are right back there, and they are amazing. So yeah, and then you got I think Creeper and a couple other Mr. McMuffins is building something over there, and Creeper. Then up over there you got Appler, I believe he's working on a couple of builds up over in there, some big builds too. If you look at the Dynamap, you look down at the Dynamap, it'll be in the upper left-hand quadrant is where all of this stuff is. And just go to the Dynamap. There's a link in the description below. Go to the Dynamap, click on it, and you'll say, oh, upper left-hand corner. Wow, they're all over there working. That's where we're all focused right now. So yeah, if you need to navigate, that's how you use the Dynamap. As you step up into here and you're in airlock, and then of course dual airlock doors. You have a little reception area and a space booper because you sit here and think about things, and you're gonna take a you're gonna drop an apple into the toilet and consider having an apple for lunch because guess what? Don't be eating space apples. Mm-mm-mm-mm. Yeah. Anybody that's seen Discovery knows what I'm talking about. Mm-hmm. Here's a little EVA locker right here. Jeffrey's tube. Again, if these blocks were gray, they would work great for this build. Unfortunately, they're not gray. I use what I've got, and I use a very different combination of blocks. I use these, and I use an older block for some of the Jeffrey's tubes along the saucer, and then I use a different block for the work I did in the neck, which was 9 months ago. So this is a very much multi-month build. Started in June of last year, then worked on it again in August, September, and then went on a hiatus, and then I'm back to it again here in February and March. Anyways, this is the bridge, and I went with a motion picture style. Let's just say that because very vanilla, very motion picture-esque. I really like the layout of this bridge. There's a modded version of this bridge made up by Panic and Mad Squirrel. It's off to the side. I pulled it off because I didn't want to lose the work that they did because it's actually very good. And, but I wanted everything to be vanilla, so I went ahead and decided to go back to vanilla. So this is my vanilla take of the bridge. It looks good. I like it. All right, yeah. Let's go ahead and drop down a couple of decks here and get down to, it's deck 7. Yep, next deck. And I'll show you the next set pieces. Or is it the next deck? We'll find out. Yep, it's this deck. Okay, we'll come over here and I'll show you the transporter layout. Now, don't mind these walls. These are just placeholders. I was experimenting with different style for walls and whatnot. I'm thinking of going something like this, but with different, like, blocks here and there and whatnot. But yeah, overall, I don't want to have to be using these gray blocks like I did, because it's a very darker build and I want to avoid the darker build, but we really do not have a large selection of wall blocks for the TMP era or for the Enterprise A style Constitution style. So we use what we got, and there'll be a lot of overlap if you have looked at other builds that involve the Constitution. You'll see there's a lot of similarities in deck layout. There's a lot of similarities in block uses. There's so much reference material for this ship that there will be a lot of similarities. Just keep that in mind when you go through the builds. Don't be hating. You stole this from so and so. Yeah, but they stole it from so and so. No, they're an original builder. That. Okay, whatever. Go build your own spaceship. Anyways, see how well you do. Come over here. This is the transporter, and again, I wanted to go with the ambiance. Yep. And you come up here and like, oh, he's not being me. Oh my God, they merged in the transporter fields. They are. Ooh, you. Did you get him back? Yes, what we got here didn't live long, fortunately. Oh, well, we need food up here, so beam them back. We need to reprocess them. Put them into the replicator system. Tasty alien goo. Anyways, we have an EVA locker. Sorry about that. I was a little kid. That was one of the most disturbing scenes I'd ever seen in a movie. Was when they had that transporter accident and the Vulcan and the ship's counselor or navigator didn't make it. I was like 8 years old, and that was one of the most disturbing things. It's always stuck in my mind. It's like, yeah, do I really want to get killified? Because that's basically what's happening. You step on that pad, they are disintegrating you, and on the other side, they're replicating you. So you are a clone. Every time you use this, you get cloned. So think about that. Do you really want to be matter transported? Mm-mm-mm. Shuttlecraft, baby. Anyways, we have another space pooper, of course, EVA locker, holding cell, and supply room. Yeah, yeah. This is a kill box right there. That's the death chamber. That's a disintegration chamber. I'm sticking to it. Dr. McCoy was right. Do not use the transporters. So I wanted to use elements from the original series in this design. So what I did is I had these up and down Jeffrey tubes. I'll show you real quick here what I'm talking about Jeffrey tube styles. Come all the way up here. This is an older block, but this is a very narrow Jeffrey tube. This says Jeffrey tube access point. So yeah, this is one of the blocks I'm considering. But again, it's a very dated block. I don't know if I'll keep using it. So, but it works. So I like it, and it's very simple. And it says power lines. So you know when you see this, this area is not a normal corridor. And of course, it goes all the way down here, and then we have these styles. Again, if these were gray, they would work really well. And then we come out here, and then oh my God, there's a window here. Yep, because it's in the ship, so or the external view of the ship. So I had to put it in here. This is where it goes because this is where the deck's lined up, boys and girls. I cannot do anything about that. This is a much larger build, so the conventional deck plans will not work. They have to be scaled up. So I am pretty much in just making it up as I go at this point. But these are little access points down to water tanks that are filling around the saucer. This will be waste management, water processing, waste management, food processing, um, and all that. And there's some more tanks above us and a lot more space above us for a lot more ship systems. And I try to stick as many corridors, stick as many crew quarters into this as I could. Just saying. But emergency transporters, and then of course we have the external main EVA locker hatchway right here off the ship, and I have redesigned this area so many times. First it was over here, then it was over here, and then I finally just said I'm sticking it right here because that's where it looks the best. Again, Minecraft, it's really hard to line these blocks up as you see them in the TV show. Just keep that in mind that it's Minecraft. I just did it myself. I'm sure other builders could probably pull it off. I just couldn't get it to work, and I got tired of working on it, so I stuck it right there because it looks good right there. Thanks again to Mad Squirrel and I Panic for helping design the shape of this sensor area here. And I went ahead and detailed it out myself. I'm very proud of it. And again, thanks to D-Bomb for doing the underside Aztecing of the saucer as well. But yeah, I'm very proud of this sensor dome. And speaking of the sensor dome, let's go ahead and buzz up into here real quick. Take a good look at it. Good gainer. But yeah, this is the working sensor dome stuff. Again, work in progress. It could change. It might change. I don't know yet, but we will figure it out as I go. And yeah, there we go. That's the initial design for the saucer sensor dome. If we come along here, and we'll go ahead and head back over this way. Now, there's not a lot of detail. I mean, again, very little detail about this area. I mean, again, I had to go back to actual physical models to get any sense of depth and dimension. Uh, the blueprints, they do a good job, but it's really hard, again, with Minecraft to lay in a room like this in Minecraft. So I'm sure, again, other players could probably do a lot better job. This was my take on it, and I'm sticking to it. I tried my best. This is what I came up with for this area. I like it. It works. But again, Hollywood set piece meets Minecraft. What can I tell you? You just got to go with the flow to get what you got. And this is what I got. Hey, sweetie. My cat just clawed out of her little hiding spot, and if I'm not careful, she'll jump down on my computer and turn it off. Come here. Why do you always do that when I'm recording? Huh? Okay. But yeah, this is my area. It looks good. I like it. I'm gonna stick with it. Of course, if we go through here, we've got this massive impulse bay. Again, this is a modified section that MHeller designed specifically for the disco era, and I decided to keep it because it looked actually kind of cool. And I'll show you another little feature of the hull that I thought was kind of neat to do something with. And torpedo launcher. This is the aft saucer torpedo launcher. Yes, she has an aft saucer torpedo launcher. But yeah, this will be the impulse bay. All that right there will be hidden, and there'll be a nice impulse engine in here. And of course, the top of the warp core will all be designed, and of course, the separation point, which is right here, will all be designed as well. Probably a big ball or power right here. When you unplug it, think of a three-pronged plug-in. Come up through here, and deck 5 also has all the escape pods in it as well. Lots and lots of escape pods on deck 5, and of course, Jeffrey's tube above us. And behind there is another Jeffrey's tube, another style of Jeffrey's tube. Again, if these were gray blocks, they would work out a lot better, but they're not. So we got to use what we got to use. Anyways, what I did up here is I dropped this down to go with more like a Voyager, because when I was working on the Voyager, I thought that would look kind of cool on the Enterprise, and it does. It looks kind of cool. And I think Droid also got the idea from the Voyager, but he reversed it on his and did something very unique with his. You have to check out his build to see how he did with this. Actually, did two things with that. Very cool concept. Droid's a really talented builder. Please go check out his build, his version of this over there, because he was one of the inspiring. I was talking to him, and he pointed to me to his Enterprise build or his Constitution build, and I'll be honest with you, it excited me to want to work on a Constitution again. And so all of this is thanks to Droid. And Droid was helping me on this build, but then he decided that he wanted to continue on with his initial build and imported it into the server. And he's been busy over there, and I cannot stress enough, go check it out. There's the old Enterprise C that I made, and I think it is Calvin Mitchell is working on the new Enterprise C, and then HD is working on the modified, or not the modified, but working on the new Probert Enterprise C. Then you have Mr. McMuffin's working on something, and then of course, I think I talked about it earlier. I think over there is a Creepy Bot, and then Appler is over there working on stuff. Again, if you look at the Dynamap, you'll get a good view of everything. And a good example, let me go over here. If you look out here, you'll see some of the work I'm doing. If you look at the Dynamap again, when you look up the upper left-hand quadrant, you'll see where we're all working. But let's go ahead and come down through here. Again, I don't remember who mocked up the details on this, but thank you very much. All the Aztecing and whatnot I've been playing around with myself just because I need to learn to do it, and it's been a lot of fun. So here is the Torpedo Magazine. And in order to have piston doors, I had to move the airlock doors in one block. Otherwise, you would be standing right here, and the hatch would be right there, and then this would be the little airlock, and then another door right here, and you'd step out into here. Now, in the Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan, Kirk and the crew, they come through here, and it's basically a big donut, and they step through it, and they step into this room right here. And they don't really describe in that show where this is. People are led to believe that it is dead center right here. But in fact, it is in its own independent room. Now, here's the problem. Kirk, they do the meet and greet, and then Kirk goes and crew go through this door. Everybody else goes through that door. This door leads nowhere except into the torpedo bag. Of course, because of the size of this build, the torpedo launcher is much, much larger because the front of the torpedo bay and the airlock pretty much mandate where things have to go. So this is the airlock, this is the location of the airlock, that means this is the location of this room, that means the forward torpedo launcher area is much longer than you would think it would be. Of course it is for this build, may not be for a true one-to-one scale of the Enterprise A. If you want that, go look at the old Enterprise A. But if I really wanted to, I could probably mock it up so you go through here, you could actually come up this way and then enter like a stairwell that takes you up a deck or two to a turbo lift. I might do that. Actually, that's not a bad idea. I'll see if I can do that. Just for shits and giggles. I'll see if I can do that. Anyways, thank you to whoever made the Chisel Bit torpedo. It's a little short, but I don't think I could fit into it, but Leonard Nimoy was much taller than me, so definitely he wouldn't fit into it. Come back through here and get your fire control, port side fire control, of course, EVA lockers, rec room, and then we got our stairwell that goes on down. Yeah. And of course, this area here is still under mock-up. It just hasn't been built out yet. Probably be tanks and whatnot, and of course, venting and stuff like that, and then everything else. And then we come down here. Now, I have not built the airlock here yet, and I ran into a problem with this area because we're into the next big section of the ship that has to be designed, and that's the cargo complex and or the shuttle bay. So we'll get to that in a second here, but this is the mock-up for the deflector dish. So far, so good. These areas here will be related to deflector and RCS control up there and down there. And in main engineering, of course, it hasn't been mocked up yet, but main engineering is right here. This is the deck. Since we have more space, I decided to go ahead and use some creative license with main engineering. So it does have a turbo lift that goes all around the deck because why not? It makes this area here a little bit smaller, but again, there's not much I can do. And of course, this hull is so much larger than the actual set pieces that were used. And if you've ever seen the pictures of the TMP era engineering bay, you see those archways that go up and over. That's actually the top of the drive hull where it meets the secondary hull, or excuse me, meets the neck pylon, the neck connector, whatever you want to call the neck. It meets the neck right here. So as you follow those arcs, they go down and they go actually, that's the entire bulkhead of the ship. Unfortunately, our hull's out there. So as you come down right here, you can't really do the archway in here. I'm going to try and make it look cool and try to do something with an archway in here, but I don't think I'm going to be able to pull it off, mainly because the hull's out there. So yeah, keep that in mind. And if you don't believe me, I can actually show you a picture of a wireframe version of the Enterprise, where they built it in a CAD program, and you can see that the things go down, and they are actually the hull. Those are bulkheads for the outer hull. So keep that in mind. Some folks have really gone all in to engineering these things, and of course, this is Minecraft, so live with what you get. But designing the cargo complex, it the cargo bay is much different than the rest of the ship. These are the deck lines for the ship right here. These are the deck lines. Unfortunately, the cargo bay is much taller in scope on the interior than the space that I had available allowed. So I had to lower the floor on this one down to here, then on this one down to here, and on this one down to here. As you can see, they don't line up with the outer walls here. Now, I can change all the outer walls, all the outer corridors, and lower all the corridors, and then I would have two 5-deck tall corridors or decks through here, and then one 3 tall deck right down here. I can do that. I'm considering that as one of the options I have available to me, but there's another option, and that is simply you would step, here's the corridor, and you would just step down into this area here and come into the cargo bay. This cargo bay, that transfer area, and that hangar, and those 2 decks down there have been redesigned. This is where I've been for the last week working on this, looking at all the reference materials I can find, and there's not a lot of reference materials. There's a shot like this, and then there's a couple of pictures of the original movie people screen capped it. I've watched the original motion picture movie to try and get things, to figure things out. And given the height of the room, given the shape of the hull, this is as close approximation as I can come to. Others might come up with something better. Now, I just did this. I have no idea, if this is even the correct floor pattern. I remember seeing a picture of something like this, and it just sort of stuck in my head. So I hope I mocked it up correctly, but I don't know. I don't know. But this is the only floor pattern I could come up with, and I did this mainly so that I could get the spacing of these things right. That's it. That's all I did for us, so that I get the spacing of the cargo pods proper. I have no idea what I'm gonna do with the cargo pods. Now, in the original ship build, I used stairs, and then I used another block behind it, and it looks pretty good. I mean, I might go back to using that style. I don't know. But this area here, when I designed this area, oh my gosh, I ripped this area out so many times and rebuilt this area. I was just thrown. I actually walked away with frustration. I was so depressed. But I kept going and I kept going, and all the reference materials and all the models that I looked at, not 3D models, and, well, there were some CAD models and 3D models, but Physical model, they actually have this as one big section, and it has this design like this. And this is the actual, right there, that wall would actually be the hull of the ship. But again, we have so much extra space that that right there isn't the wall of the hull because we have space over here. And of course, the exterior windows are placed according to where they are on the model. And guess what? Model, meet interior. Minecraft. Gotta love it. So things don't line up on the exterior to the interior because of the scaling. And you can do what you can do. You know, if you were to scale the ship correctly, it would look really weird. So we're just going to fill the space the best we can and have a lot of fun with it. But yeah, so I put a little catwalk right here in the motion picture. This is not here. This was added for Star Trek V, and I thought it was a cool idea. So you know, make it unique for myself, and I just added the extra turbo lift right there. The only blocks I had in my inventory at the time that I mocked this up were stairs. So, and I need this to look different. I need people to know that this is a lift. And normally I would use yellow or another block through here, but at the time, I normally use something like this. I wanted to use a stair, so I went ahead and ran around it with stairs and see how that looks. I have no idea how this is going to look. It was sort of something I had concepted up for the Voyager, and I don't even know if they're going to use that or not. Probably not, but yeah, I did this to the Voyager lift, and I was going to go back and refit the rebuild Voyager, the remodeled Voyager with this as well, because I think it's a kind of a cool concept. Anyways, the lift comes up and basically, actually, I may have made this wrong here. I might have to go back through and double check my spacings and things. They might be off. But yeah, it's very frustrating to try and do this. But anyways, these are the blocks I had, so I mapped it up like this, and I kind of like it, but I'm probably going to swap out all the black, including this, probably for a lighter block again to go more or less with the lighter tones of the motion picture, the grays and the whites of the motion picture. So yeah, that's my concept. And again, it's still a work in progress. This all could change. And then of course we have the main hangar itself. Now this has been a lot of fun to design. I These columns have been spaced in different from 3 to 5 to 7 to where they are currently, and I've reworked the shape. I've gone with angles like you saw in the motion picture where it was all angles, and then I've come to this, and for the shape and size of this room, this hangar, this is the best design for it. And this is the fifth or sixth iteration of this, and this is the one that I'm happy with. So I'm going to go, even though I lose a lot of roof space, I'm losing a couple of blocks up there to keep this arch. I'm going to go ahead and keep this arch. I like this look. It looks good. The design back here, I messed with this and messed with this and messed with it. First I would go 2, then skip 1, go 2. I just couldn't get the height. Then I looked at the door and I shaped it off of the door. And the door is 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2. So that's what I did here. 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2, and then I crossed it over. So, and then I just kind of left a little space right here for, you know, not tractor beam, but force field emitters. And then, of course, the door, if it opens, it's a rounded door. You can't really see it because of the way that this is lined up, but come out here, you can see it's a rounded door. The door would open and it would go into here, into this space right here. Now, I don't know how to breach this to make it look rounded, but this is the shape I came up with, and this is the shape I'm going to stick with. Again, Minecraft. So these are the limitations that you run with when you're building in a program like Minecraft that it actually allows you to build these full-size builds. You can't do this in any other game currently. You cannot build these big ships, and not just this big ship. That big ship, I can fly over there and I can go inside that big ship. Yeah, try doing that with, you know, Unreal or any of those other engines. You can't do it without having multiple loads and so. And they tried, brother, they tried. So yeah, but yeah, this is the current update on this build. And again, come on to the server and check out the other builds that are ongoing, especially droids, Calvins, NHDs, as well as Applers, Mr. McMuffins, and whatever creepy bot's working on, as well as other folks. I'm sure there's probably a few more active builds going on that I'm not aware of. But yeah, come check them out. And thanks to the people that have been helping me with this build. And hopefully in the next month or two, it'll, the deck lines will be finalized and we can copy it out and start building on the interior. And yeah, have a lot more fun. Anyways, thanks for watching and have a great day. Bye bye.